Hi everyone, I'm Julie from Shenandoah Shabby, and I thought I would do a series of videos that takes you from the very beginning of how to prep a piece through to how to paint it and wax it, and so the whole process. When I was first starting out painting, I watched YouTube video after YouTube video trying to figure out the best techniques and the best methods that worked for me. And so I found these types of videos helpful. I haven't done one like this because, you know, even after dozens and dozens of pieces, I find that I'm still learning so much. So a piece that I think might be simple, for some reason something comes up and I have to try a new technique or do something differently. But it's all part of the process. It's all part of the learning process. I learn something new with every piece that I do, which keeps this work exciting. But I thought I'd take you through from beginning to end, and hopefully it can help some of you. By no means are these techniques the only way to do things, but I've found that this is what is working for me at the moment. So what I have is and I'll post a picture of this. It's a 4-drawer dresser, probably built in the 1950s, 60s. It likely is mahogany veneer, in decent condition, but some of the veneer is a little bit chipped in a couple of places. Definitely was a little bit dirty, you know. It just had decades of grime on it when I first got it. So the first few steps that I've done, a couple of them already, is to clean the piece. And when I first started doing this, I've tried many different methods of cleaning a piece. What seems to be working for me for something like this is I use a 50-50 mix of vinegar and water. Oh, sorry, before I even do that, I will take a broom or a little vacuum and vacuum out all of the dust, and get all of the dust, and if there's any dirt or anything, out of there. So that's the first step. Then the next thing, I use a 50-50 mix of vinegar and water. I put it in a spray bottle, and I spray it on, and on the drawer fronts and on the surface of the piece, I will use a fine steel wool to kind of rub the vinegar and water mixture in, and then I'll use a rag to wipe it off. And for something like this that's been in the house for decades, you will be surprised sometimes the amount of gunk that comes off of these surfaces. So I'll do that, and then I'll do it again and again until when I wipe it, it's coming clean. And then what I do is I take a spray bottle of water, spray on the surface to kind of clean off that vinegar and water and anything that's left, and dry it off with a towel. So I've done that with all of with the entire piece so far. The other cleaning method is for the insides of the drawers, the inside of the piece, the back of the piece. All of that gets cleaned as well. And I do the same thing, except I don't use fine steel wool for that, unless there's a part that looks like it might need it. But generally a rag will do just fine. So spray on the vinegar and water mixture, take off, clean it out with the rag, and then eventually spray it with the water mixture and dry it off. I just find that the insides of the drawers and the inside of the piece, although it's oftentimes a little bit dusty, it's not there's not as much buildup as on drawers like these. So that I've already done, and the next step is to do any sort of repairs on the piece. This one had some minor damage to the veneer on the drawers, so I use wood filler, and I'll show you a spot that I've done this already. Let's see if I can get it over here. So right here, a little bit of the veneer was broken on the end, and so sometimes it takes 1 or 2 applications of the wood filler You just use a little spackle to put it on, let it dry for a couple of hours or longer if it's deeper, and use sandpaper to sand it down to where you want it. Generally, I'll take it off with the kind of the thick part on top. I'll take it off with a 150 sandpaper and then go down to 220 to make it nice and even with the surface of the piece. One tip for wood filler, if you buy one of the big tubs, which is what I do, if you just close it up and put the top on, then the wood filler is going to dry up in no time at all. So I always take a piece of saran wrap and just put it in there, right on top of the wood filler underneath the lid, and it stays good for a long time. So that's where I am with the drawers right now. I've done the repair, I've done the cleaning that I need to do, I've done the repairs that I need to do, and what I want to do next is to put shellac on these drawers, because this is a mahogany veneer, and I'm going to be painting the body of the piece, the drawers and the bottom part white. So I need to make sure there is zero bleed through coming through, and anything that is mahogany or oak, I always put multiple layers of clear shellac on to ensure that there's no bleed through coming through. If I don't, then I always regret it and end up having to do it again later. So that is what I want to do next with these. But and a lot of people ask this: do you need to sand down? I use Annie Sloan chalk paints, so they adhere really well to a lot of surfaces. Do you need to sand down at all? If I were to be staining, then yes, I would be. But I just want to scuff up the surface to make sure that the shellac and then eventually the paint is going to adhere well. So I'm just using a 220 piece of sandpaper. Remember, the higher the grate, the finer the sandpaper. So I will see if I can turn this a little bit. I just want to scuff it up a little bit so it's not so shiny. And also, this piece is, there's not a lot of like splintery spots or anything, but on every piece I always go all the way around the edges with sandpaper first, and then sort of check it with my fingers to make sure that there's no rough edges or splinters or anything, because you want to deal with that before you put anything on the piece. So that's my next step. I'm gonna sand this down, and then I'll bring you back, I think, when I do the shellac. It's an easy process, but I can show you how I do it. So that's it for now. Hopefully this is helpful for you. Again, I'm Julie from Shenandoah Shabby, and you know, if you like what you're seeing here with these videos, please like the Facebook page for Shenandoah Shabby, and feel free to share the videos with anybody you think might be able to use them as well. So thanks again. I'll see you soon. Bye.